Hi, welcome to Attainable Green. I'm Jess, and today we're going to be talking about my orchid seedlings. So last month I deflasked a couple of orchid seedlings, and this month I'm just going to show you some progress that's been made. So first, the Ascocenda. This Vanda type seedling is doing very well. After the deflasking, this plant just took off. It's growing a lot of leaves and a couple of roots as well. There's a tinge of purple on this plant, and it indicates that it's getting enough light. I'm making sure that this plant doesn't turn completely purple. Otherwise, I think that's a little too much light for this plant and might stress it out. So a little bit of purple is fine, but not a lot. The Cleisocentron are also doing very well. It has a couple of hitchhikers in the pot, but I'm not too concerned since it's not taking up too many nutrients. It's growing new leaves and roots as well. I did run into a little bit of trouble along the way. My Chysis laevis seedlings were a little bit sensitive to my tap water. I use tap water to water all my seedlings, and usually that doesn't cause any problems, especially when they're potted up with sphagnum moss. But with the Chysis, they started to get a little bit of leaf tip dieback, and that usually indicates that there's too much salt content in the water. And I'm not talking about salt as in sodium, but salt as in fertilizer or just too many minerals in the water. So in order to prevent any further progression of the leaf tip dieback, I decided that I would dilute my tap water with some distilled water. So when they're watered, they get 50% distilled water and 50% tap water. That dilutes my TDS reading from about 250 to about 100 parts per million. Once I did that, the leaf tip dieback stopped, and the new growths and new leaves have started to look completely clean. So there aren't any tip browning or any burn associated with the plant. I think that because the leaves are very thin and the roots are also very fine compared to the other seedlings, that they're a little bit more sensitive to the salt content and purity of water. My Chysis laevis 5861 not only had a little bit of leaf tip dieback, but somehow it got an infestation of thrips. Now, I was able to catch it in time, so I was able to treat it very quickly. Because of that, there is a little bit of scarring and blemishing on the leaves, but I'm not too concerned because I separated both of these compots into quarantine for about 2 to 3 weeks to make sure that I got rid of the thrips before returning it back to the community environment. The Rhyncholaelia glauca has been giving me problems since I first deflasked it. It did suffer a mold issue, which prompted me to separate the seedlings out of its initial compot. This month is a continuation of that, and I think despite cleaning all these seedlings pretty thoroughly, I think the mold still infected some of these plants, and so I saw a little bit of dieback in the compot. I know that the seedlings are very sensitive to these things, so I'm trying to be as vigilant as possible to catch it in time to reduce the number of seedlings that are affected. And I think this time around I am a lot more successful in handling these infestations or disease problems that come up in my situation. After last month's video, I got one more flask, and that was the Phalaenopsis bastianii. This was a little bit of an unusual flask because normally they come as a set of 25 plants or so, and in this one, the yield was a lot smaller. They had a little bit of trouble in flask, and so there was about 15 or 16 plants in this one. However, the plants are also widely varied in size. They're either really large or considered large for seedlings or fairly small. So when I got these seedlings, I decided to pot them up into individual pots, and with the smaller ones, I put them in a compot. Now these ones have a little bit of blemish on the leaves, but it's not too bad. I think it's probably mechanical damage versus any pest or disease issue. So the Phalaenopsis bastianii are doing great. I'm definitely seeing new root growth and new leaf growth, and that is always a good sign, especially because these seedlings are so sensitive. Overall, this round has been doing much better than when I first started growing seedlings, and I'm having a lot less trouble than I did previously. Of course, there are some issues that I am encountering as I'm going along, but I think I'm dealing with them in a timely manner, so I'm reducing the number of seedlings that are affected and the mortality of the seedlings as well. So that's what's going on with my orchid seedlings for this round. After 1 month out of flask so far, most of it is looking great. There are a couple of trouble spots, but I'm able to tackle them and deal with them head on. and hopefully more seedlings will survive this round of growth. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, Attainable Green, for all the latest updates, and hit the bell so you never miss an episode. Bye!